sent up to interview him, and we were sort of allowed, because he was so incredibly busy, we were supposed to be allowed 5 minutes with the great man, and there was me from our television crew and various other guys, and one of the assistant priests who were then looking after Rowan had been had been working in Cardiff, and I hadn't realised it was the same guy, but I'd been able to do him a small favour at one point when I was a headmaster and he'd been a young curate, and he looked at me and said, Arnold, I can make your 5 minutes up to 10 if you like. I said, yes, please. And so a favour done years ago came back to help me to get an extra 5 minutes with Rowan. And he is, of course, a magnificent scholar. And I think if, bless his heart, if he has a problem at all, it is that he is not really the man for an intellectual controversy. You wouldn't find a better man. If you sat him here in a group of broad-minded thinkers, we would all admire him by the time he'd finished talking. But to put him up in a hostile environment where the fundamentalists were doing this and the traditionalists were doing that and the high Anglicans were doing something else, and all the controversy about appointing women bishops and about the marrying gays, same-sex marriages, Rowan is not up to that sort of fight. There's this, I wouldn't say it's a weakness or an error in personality. It's just that if you're in a position like that, like that he's got, you have to come to the point where, much as you want to help everyone and listen to everyone, finally the hammer goes down and you say, I am the Archbishop, we will do this. And Rowan hasn't quite got that. He's a wonderful academic, and I said I admire him enormously.
Would people please forgive me if I ask another question for that?
Excuse me. You have 5 minutes left.
Okay.
Please
come in.
That's my role.
If I can sneak one in after, that would be great.
Well, do you want to go first? Because I was going to follow on with that on the Rowan
follow
Williams.
on with that. I'm just going to click on it.
Yeah, I'd love to have both questions. I'll do my humble best.
I'll do that very quickly. What are your thoughts on the next Archbishop of Canterbury, given that you've just said that what you need is somebody to hammer down, but a lot of people would say John Centimore is exactly that kind of person who does hammer down. A lot of people don't like him.
Right.
It's also the evangelicals' turn next time, because Rowan Williams was Anglo-Catholic.
Well, he was Anglo-Catholic and academic liberal, yeah.
And a lot of, a fair few of the high church people are really scared that they will get divvied out of the new CRV because of the new changes coming. There's no room for them. While a lot of the liberals are scared that there'll be just continuing prejudice or discrimination.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, when I say, I think that in that kind of role, whether you're David Cameron, whether you're Prime Minister or whether you're an Archbishop or whether you're the Chief Judge, or if you are the head man or the head woman of a particular organisation that has that sort of role in society, I think that although you should listen sympathetically to every side of the argument and treat everyone with a balanced neutrality, that ultimately when the decision has to be made, you've got to come down hard. And I don't agree with very much of what the Archbishop of York has to say. I'm an academic liberal, and he's far too traditional for me. But at the same time, if he wants to stipulate this and this, good luck to him. Okay? And if we're going to fit your question in...
You are excessively prolific in many, many different things.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's wonderful, but everyone kind of says do one thing and do one thing really well, but you do everything really well. How? Because I want to do lots of things really well.
60 seconds.
That is the most brilliant question, I think, that had pointed at me. And I'm going to cheat and say, this lovely lady here has known me for nearly 60 years, for 55 of which we've been married. how do you think I do what I do? And do you think I do things well?
Of course I do.
Are you at the dinner tonight?
Yeah.
Can I stalk you and ask my question again?
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Whether you say yes or no, she will anyway.
Yeah. All I can all I sort of probably say in answer, I don't think there is. I don't think that I have anything of which I can boast, and I would try ever so hard not to. But when people say lovely things like that, it's ever so tempting. And I genuinely believe that there is so much that we inherit, and just if I do a number of things moderately well, I don't think it's anything clever. I think I'm just the lucky boy who inherited it. It's rather like if you've been born with a trunk and two big tusks and weighing 1.5 tons, you can get through the jungle fairly well. Whereas if you've been born as a hamster, you are less likely to smash through the trees. And I don't think that either the hamster or the elephant should boast about what it can do. I think it's so much of it is just...
Well, I think the other thing is you've done so many things in your life, not just being a priest, not just being a headmaster. You've been in the industry, farming.
That takes a discipline.
Everything.
Like a lot of people have the capacity to do many things but fail to follow through. So you've been given the capacity, but you've also followed through. And that is remarkable.
You are so kind. And I said we always enjoy Discworld. And then when somebody says something as nice as that, I sort of almost feel I've got two little wings on the back. And I'm just flapping my way around to the banquet. But it is so kind. And so,
I think you need to share your wings.
Yeah. Well, I would say, and I do absolutely nothing without this lovely girl. And I'm going to tell, to embarrass her mildly, when people ask us, when did you two sort of first see each other? Pat was only 12, and she was watching. I was a wrestler in those days. I was doing a charity wrestling bout for one of these sort of wounded ex-servicemen's funds, and I just slung the other guy across the ring. Pat told me afterwards that she said to one of her schoolgirl friends, "Hey, I rather fancy him," and her friend said, "You don't want a husband, you want a minder." And as I said, the little story I told you earlier about when I smashed the lift because the lift was threatening my girl, she's got a minder. And can I just say a very big thank you to everyone, because I love these Klatsch sessions, and you're such a wonderful group of friends, and every time I come to do one of these, I feel as if I don't deserve so much friendship and so much warmth, and you're all lovely people, and maybe it's something to do with Discworld, that the Discworld attracts very nice people, because Terry himself is such an incredibly nice bloke. And I always remember, how we first met him when, this poor guy in the Welsh literature says, "Lionel, can you help? I've got this new author here tonight. I forgot anybody to look after him." And we were just so glad to look after Terry. I said, "Yeah, I'd love to have him," and send him to us. And so we had supper. I went to Terry's lecture, and we took him home to supper afterwards, and had a wonderful time together, and we've been friends ever since.
That's lovely. And now, that's the end.